Anime Miami will be in South Florida at the Miami Airport Convention Center at the MACC, February 14th to the 16th. A lot of cool stuff for cosplayers. It's just what an exciting time. GalaxyCon is behind this. Mike Broduer and his great team back in Florida. This is awesome. And one thing I really enjoy with GalaxyCon events is FSCW, Fantasy Super Cosplay Wrestling, where actual pro wrestlers are in cosplay and they are actually competing in the ring as their character that they're portraying. And somebody who's really into cosplay and is really taken to this concept very well, which is just one of the big draws of these events is FSCW. They get such good crowds for those, is Leva Bates. And Leva's, what a career she's had so far and continuing. So many different things that she's done. She's big into cosplay, but she's big into theater and a lot of other things. And it's just so interesting with her career so far. And she's a big part of FSCW. They're going to have a show every night during the Anime Miami. And just, Leva, you tell me, what is it like being a part of FSCW and also a part of this whole Anime Miami that'll be here?
It's a lot of fun. It's probably some of the most fun wrestling I do, period. It is a good mixture of pro wrestling, acting, comedy, just audience interaction. That I feel like the audiences wanna be entertained. They want to join in. They want to play. Everyone's a geek here, and in the best way possible. You come to these things because you're geeking out about something, whether it's anime, comic books, video games, cosplay itself. We even have a lot of people that come are just big fans of wrestling, and they know it's going to happen. So you have all of these different type of fandoms coming together for these conventions, and everyone's looking to meet up, make friends, make memories, and FSCW, I think, is a huge part of that because we give something that a lot of these people have never seen before, as well as for the people who've returned and seen us several times, just new, exciting things, because you never know what we're going to do, what characters are going to come out, and it's always just kind of, what are they going to do next? So it's a little bit fun for people who've never been to these cons before, as well as for the people who've been here since day one. So I feel like FSCW is just one of the biggest draws of these type of conventions. It's so much fun.
It is a lot of fun, and the crowds love going to these shows as part of the whole experience, because there's so much more to do at these events. But that, and I'm going to list some. You'll know better than me. Monster Fulton, Brian Cage, Chelsea Green, Ariel Monroe, Darby Allin, and the list can go on and on of pro wrestlers who have participated on FSCW shows. And Leva, tell me about how much fun they're having and want to be a part of all this.
It was kind of a joke we always say that all of our Catwomen get signed. Because at one point, so whoever's played Catwoman has gotten signed to one company or another, or multiple companies. So like Chelsea Green, Ruby Soho, myself, I forget who else, but I feel like almost every, we joke to say if you're playing Catwoman, you're next to get signed. So it's kind of an inside joke, but we do have a lot of people who have left and gotten signed to maybe like WWE, or even like returning AEW stars that are part of AEW or TNA. They also want to be a part of the shows, like Kayla Connolly and myself and Diamante and Kiera Hogan. So it's because you return because it's so much fun. You return because it's a passion of yours, whether it's the cosplay, the convention environment, acting and being a character, all of the above. You do it because you enjoy it. And I feel like that's what a lot of these people who have, who are in the big time, who have been in the big time or will get to the big time, they always seem to come back. I mean, we're already in talks to having someone else who's currently at AEW maybe coming back for a few shows. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that he'll return soon. So
it is such a great place because you have a whole mix of talent, and these are very good professional wrestlers. For some that don't keep up with things like this, you have many from the indies and many from Florida indies and all. Now, I know Jude has been running it. Alex has run it in the past. Alex Chamberlain, great. Jude Mackenzie is running it. He has his team. A lot of people behind the scenes and are also involved. I want to get from you, give me a list of characters that you've portrayed in FSCW.
oh, geez. Okay, I started off as Chung-Li many years, the very first year. 'Cause I've been there since the dawn of time, pretty much, I feel like. So okay, let me go through. I know I've done Chung-Li, Black Widow, Sailor Mars, Lady Deadpool, Jinx from League of Legends. I've done Jinx from League of Legends and Jinx from Arcane. I've done T-Rex, Pikachu. I'm trying to think. I know I'm missing something.
Catwoman.
Oh, I have been Catwoman, yes. And now I'm currently Lucy from Fallout. Oh, and the Silent Hill nurse, the bubblehead nurse from Silent Hill. And yeah, we also brought back Lady Deadpool recently as well. So yeah, I feel like I kind of just you just trying to fill in a role. That's me.
And I know you love it so much, but out of all those you mentioned, or even someone that you haven't portrayed, is there someone that you'd like to portray? Is there a favorite of yours out of all these that you mentioned, or maybe someone you want to be?
It's like picking who my favorite child is. It's unfair. Lady Deadpool.
No, you know what? No, we can have favorite children. We can have one favorite child. We could.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Jinx is very much like me. I feel like in my style of just hyperactiveness, but Lady Deadpool is also very just crazy, weird, over the top. But then I bring something completely different as Lucy, who is very much just, I'm happy to be here. Oh, wow. I'm so excited. It's just like a whole new world to explore. So it's cool to bring in different characters. Like Sailor Mars is all about just beating the crap out of people because, she's a tough one. So it's really cool to play all these different characters. So it's really hard to choose. But I guess probably the most like me would be either Jinx or Lady Deadpool, maybe. Though, I mean, I do have a lot of fun with the Silent Hill nurse because it's such, as an actor and a performer and a wrestler, it is such a challenge because it is such the most difficult character, I think, to portray in the ring for me at the moment. And I find new ways of doing that every single show. And it's really cool and really exciting to explore that completely different realm.
Yeah, that Silent Hill nurse, I've seen you at the last show that was down here that you portrayed. And that obviously Silent Hill, you're silent. So a lot of the action has to be visual, and you have to come and create that type of atmosphere for it, which you do a great job at it. The crowd was really into it.
Yeah, the thing is, it's she moves when she hears things. So the match has to actually be really silent. So if someone's making a lot of noise, that's where she's going to. So it's really a lot of like, okay, how can you make this gimmick work within the match itself? And then as well as what is the other person? Who are they? How does that work with the nurse? So it's a lot of fun. It's again, you have to really think outside the box with some of these characters to really be true to who they are, as well as be entertaining.
And going on that too, when you find that the pro wrestlers are going to be a certain character, do you find, Leva, that a lot of times they're asking to be somebody, or is it, hey, we need somebody to do this character? And is there a lot of study and education that also has to go into it, and also they portray the character? Because I mean, Leva, it's more about the character portrayal at FSCW than the actual moves.
Yeah, I mean, the moves will come after the character. I mean, that's actually just, I feel like, in wrestling, in my style of wrestling anyway, because it's all about the wrestling is the art of storytelling. So what is the story you're trying to tell within this match? And if there is no story, if just a bunch of moves, it gets boring after a while. The audience loses interest, is not invested. So, I mean, I feel like that's super important. But especially with something like some of these people have never seen wrestling before. So if you're coming in doing all these moves, they're going to be like, wow, but they're not going to get it. So you have to really like spoon feed them. This is the character. This is a story we're telling. And now you're completely entertained at the same time while we're super kicking each other and flying off the top of the, turnbuckle. With the characters, it's a mixture of both. A lot of times it's they find what is popular right now. Because, I mean, if something's not popular, then you're not going to get cheered or booed or whatever. So we like to keep our finger on the pulse. So that's why you'll see someone coming in as like right now, Art the Clown is huge. So during Animate, and we also had people from the Terrifier there, the director, a lot of the actors, the main actor from, David, who plays Art. So that was one of those must-haves. So we were looking for someone to be Art the Clown. So sometimes Jude and Vendette and Nick, they book based on the con, based on what's going on right now in pop culture, what's hot, what's not, what's coming down the pipeline. Like this movie is coming out this weekend. Maybe we should have a character representing that. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So a lot of times that's where the character picks come from. But also you have some of your favorites like Star-Lord. Star-Lord's been around. I mean, Star-Lord's still super popular, but he's been around for a while. But it also fits Caleb Connolly very, very well. So it's one of those like glove, hand, fits. Boom. Why change it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I think it's a combination of both. And then also you have people that do have ideas. Oh, I have this idea. I would love to try this at some point. And if they like it and it makes sense and maybe it goes with everything, because there's also after a while, you're like, all right, we had this character for a while. It's starting to get a little overplayed or it's just not as popular. Then it's time to switch characters, or time to like interchange people. So, or maybe someone who's the perfect person gets signed somewhere and can't play that character anymore. Then we have to switch it up, so that also happens too. So it's a lot of, real life meets pulp culture meets wrestlers' ideas meets bookers' ideas. You know what I mean? It's everything. It's a collaborative effort, to be honest. So
it's so cool. It's so cool, Leva, seeing like Captain America versus Deadpool.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is.
I mean, just stuff like that's going on.
One of my favorite matches recently was in Animate in Des Moines, where I was a Silent Hill nurse because it was not Animate, it was Nightmare. It was Nightmare Weekend. Oh, it was Animate Nightmare Weekend, so it was both. So we had anime characters and horror characters. And you had the Silent Hill nurse who played by me, and versus Froppy from My Hero Academia, played by Erica Damia, who was actually her debut with FSCW that weekend. And we had so much fun with that match because we were able to find the nuances of these characters and make them work with each other. And it just gelled. You know what I mean? Like, because she, did the ribbit, and then the nurse who only moves when you hear things. You know what I mean? Like, we made that match make so much sense and tell a fun story, and the people were super into it, and we were super into it. I feel like that also helps FSCWs because the wrestlers themselves are super into it. So if they're into it, the audience is going to enjoy it as well.
And that's what I find. Everyone that's back there, everyone's involved is so into it. They're so into the show, so into their character. It's so cool. And you mentioned something, and I forgot to bring this up because it is so cool too. You've had people like the creator of Toxic Avenger, Martin Cove from Karate Kid. You've had others that have been at the cons that have been part of FSCW as well. I love when Martin Cove was there and he did sweep the leg. He did the whole bit. with
it's
C.
awesome.
Young,
I mean,
his character.
I feel like it's almost become a precedent for the most part. When we have a show, you have some sort of celebrity interaction, whether they get in a ring, they come out to the stage, they distract a wrestler, they call them out, they do a promo, they hosts like, here, we're gonna debut something and blah blah blah, you know. So I mean, we've had Mick Foley, we've had Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson from Clerks, you know. I mean, we've had like actors and voice actors. We had the voices of Spider-Man come out to help out our Spider-Man, and it was so wonderful and adorable. We've had celebrities do commentary like Dana Snyder and Josh Petersdorf from Overwatch, who's Roadhog. So you have all these different people that want to get involved. We've had people ask us to get involved. Or you've had be like, hey, we're doing this thing, and they're like, you're doing what? And then they're so intrigued by it that they're like, okay, let's I'll check it out. So
it is so fun.
Everyone has fun with it.
It is. It is so fun. It is so cool. And I'm going to get to something else, but I do want to say this too, because you mentioned T-Rex and the T-Rex from Jurassic Park and that outfit. How did you pull that one off?
It's costume Hollywood magic. Something with Pikachu. Costume Hollywood magic.
Oh my God, it is so funny. And to hear the Jurassic Park music and the T-Rex comes out, that's one of my favorites. Jeffrey from Toys R Us. One of the original Jeffrey costumes. That was great. Big shout out to Eddie, because that was amazing. And that thing went viral. Gangrel was involved. And Caleb Connolly, Star-Lord was involved as well. And then also had the Viking. Now I'm getting a blank, but that he portrayed the character of I can't think of the character, but all were involved in that part of it. The whole thing went viral, and who knew? At the time, Toys R Us is closing, and Jeffrey comes out, and your commentators are so funny. You mentioned some of them, Elgin David too, and I know Heather Kid Cadet is with the ring announcing and all. Just everybody. The commentary during those things are just as much fun as the actual matches themselves.
Oh yeah. We have some great commentators, and we have a great set of commentators. So like sometimes we have Guy Hutchison, sometimes we have Tyler Woods, sometimes we have Nick Unthank, who comes out, who's actually also running the show. So, but then we also have celebrities coming out. Like I remember we had Aqua Teen Hunger Force with like Dana and all of them that came out. Dana and was it Carrie and Dave? Oh my God, it's so funny.
Yeah, Dave from when he did the Red Green show. When Dave was doing the Red Green show, a character from that, and was commentary, that was just amazing. It was so much fun. All right, so I'll tell you what, get the FSCW. Now I just want to get to, Leva, what are some of your fun times that you've had in pro wrestling? Because it was interesting to me. You were the librarian in AEW. Mm-hmm. But then I come to find out you were wearing multiple hats once again, and you're working behind the scenes for AEW as well. Is that also just, you went to Murray State, graduated from Murray State. You have 2 degrees, I believe, from Murray State, and is it all in theater? Tell me about that part of your background, and then just transitioning it and making you more someone that is more that you want to work for your company because you could do more.
Okay, so that's a lot. So I have a degree in radio and TV production and theater with an acting emphasis, and I have a minor in dance. I wanted to perform. That's always been my goal, is to make a living as a performer. Be a super famous movie star, right? That's kind of what you want to do, right? I feel like it's everyone's goal. So, but that's what I wanted. I wanted to be a self-sustaining living as a performer, and I'm doing it right now. But that was kind of what I wanted. So that's why I kind of did multiple things, because the thing is, acting is kind of a gamble, you know what I mean? And there's different things you can do within the world of acting, but I'm like, it also makes sense if I learn how to, do radio and TV production. So if I have to make my own stuff or produce my own things, or if I have to get a job doing something else besides acting to self-sustain until I get to my, achieve my goals. So I wanted to do that. Because having all that knowledge will make you a better actor, being a good director makes also for, if you're a good director, then you know what an actor goes through. Same thing as an actor. An actor should also direct a couple times to know what a director goes through. So you have that whole like that whole idea of like, okay, this is what he wants. I see your vision because I've done this myself type thing. So it's good to wear multiple hats to be a performer. And then, yeah, I just kind of fell into wrestling accidentally almost. So
that part of the story, no, that part of the story is very interesting because then you end up at some point at the Team 3D Academy in Kissimmee,
Yep.
Florida, near Orlando, with Bubba Ray and D-Bon running the show there. And they're not going to just take anybody in. I remember when they started that, they were adamant in saying, hey, we're not just in it to take money from everybody. We want to know if they really are serious about this. So just how did you go through that process?
They're very much the type of guys, don't waste my time. You know what I mean? Like, our time is very, very valuable. Time is money. Don't waste my time. So I get that. Yeah, I was doing dancing and performing and animated characters and stunts at Universal. I was going to wrestling shows that we're having at Universal, like every 2 weeks or every other week, and became friends with a lot of people. And they're like, well, if you do all this stuff, you dance, you act, you do stunts, why don't you wrestle? And I'm like, it was a part of the curriculum at the university. I don't know. And they're like, come with us to wrestling school. So kind of did that. And then the trajectory of my life just kind of went this way because I didn't expect it to take off like it did. I thought it'd be just a fun little hobby, right? And then you start doing it more and more, and you're like, oh, I'm actually kind of getting paid to do this. Oh, I'm doing stuff. I'm actually getting booked and getting signed and traveling the world. And, you know, I'm on TV. And oh, shit, this is really cool. Oh, sorry. Oh, crap, this is really cool.
It's okay.
No, you can edit that out. But yeah, no, this is really, it's one of those like, oh, wow, you don't realize what's going to take off and what's not going to take off, you know. And I mean, I put a lot of effort into wrestling, and you never know if it was going to take off or not, but it's something I enjoyed. I thought it was, you know, at least it's making me a little bit of money. You know, I'm still performing at Universal. So again, you know, kind of self-sustaining myself as a performer in one way or another, whether I'm dancing in a costume, you know, acting on the streets, doing stunts, and then now wrestling, you know. And then I kind of ended up starting doing hosting and learning that type of thing and doing a few shows. I've done a puppetry show for Fringe, and then started doing a few short films. And, you know, you just kind of like try to do as much as you can because you never know when the next gig is. And if you have a lot of skills, someone might be like, oh, they're casting for this, or this wrestling show is looking, you know, WWE is looking for this. And then you're like, oh, well, I can do that. Oh, you can do this? Okay, who? So I think that's why a lot of us pick up different skills. We just have that mentality of like, hey, I enjoy performing. I'm going to learn this. Ooh, I enjoy doing this. Or I want to do more, so I'm going to learn these skills so I'm more likely to get picked. You know what I mean? So I kind of look at it like that as well. So yeah, I just kind of started doing that. I mean, now I'm doing acting classes, comedy classes, mainly improv, but like that type of stuff. And I have an improv gig coming up in a month. You know what I mean? So it's just like, you never know if it's going to take off or not, but it's something that, hey, you need someone to do this, I can do it. So
sketch comedy? Is that the next thing? Is sketch comedy?
I don't know. Maybe. I went ahead and took some classes. Why not?
It's amazing.
I do comedy wrestling. Why not?
You are just amazing because you wear so many hats and you're able to pull them all off well. That's the thing. It's one thing trying, but then able to do them too. That's another thing. And it's just so amazing. But I have to get back to the wrestling part of it, because when you first start training, I mean, these guys they're not going to just, we'll take it easy, whatever. You're there to go at it. Just what were your thoughts? Were you thinking like, or were you like, no, I can do this. I'm going to keep going at it.
I don't know. I don't think there was a lot of thinking. You just kind of like, well, it's because I went once on a whim. The first time I ever went to school was actually technically FSCW, where D-Von was at. That was before Team 3D existed. And I was like, oh, let's go see what it's about. And by the end of the class, I was convinced to sign up because they're like, wow, you have like this natural ability. Like, you're not just a manager. Because I was going to come in and be a manager because of my acting background. And they're like, no, you're a wrestler, because I'd already bumped and wasn't scared to bump. I was like, yeah, I'll try it. Boom. You know, again, I also do stunts and wear crazy costumes like for a living, where they're, you know, can be heavy. You're dancing around in them. You know, like I'm not scared to jump off a building or, you know, sword fight. So why would I be scared to take a bump if it's something that people have done for years and it should be okay? You know, so they're like, oh, you immediately already did this. No, you're a wrestler. So I was like, sure, I'll sign up. Why not? That's really how it happened. And then I just started going, and then managed my first show. And then several months later, did my first show, wrestled in my first show. And then that's when Devon opened up his school with Bubba. And I was like, I've got to follow him, because I was still in the middle of training. So I'm like, I got to keep going. You know, I'm one of those, if I want to do something, I'm going to see it to the end, you know.
Well, Leva, was there a point, was there a certain event, a match, or a year that you were like, hey, yeah, not only do I want to do this, but I could do this and make some money and be pretty good at it? Was that right away, or did it take a little while for that mentality to go in for you?
I think when you dive into wrestling, it becomes like just the nature of how wrestling is, especially if you are training to be a wrestler and becoming a wrestler. It kind of becomes over encompassing. It just becomes your life, and that's what you see. So I was like, all right, well, let me focus on getting bookings, and, you know, I'll wrestle every weekend, work during the week as Universal performing, you know. And it was one of those, it's like, it was a new goal. It was fresh, it was new. And I'm like, let me try it, you know. So the thing is, the worst thing you can do is not try, and then you always wonder, what if, you know. So I started getting booked, and then I started going outside of state, and then I started doing stuff like Shimmer. Shimmer really put me on the map. And I think that's where it started taking off. And then FIP as well. And then did a couple stints with TNA for like the Kong Challenge and the Aces and Eights, and people started seeing my name, and then I started getting booked more. And then eventually you know, doing Rosebudding and then Blue Pants, and just that's when it really was like, okay, this is my career actually now, as opposed to a hobby. You know what I mean? Like, it was a hobby that was making me money and sustaining me, but then when I was like, oh, I can actually do this. This is really a thing, you know. So
all those you mentioned, and the one thing that stands out to me, you'd think would be Blue Pants. No. The Kong Challenge? What were you thinking?
Bubba and Devon were like, hey, they need some girls at TNA. And I'm like, okay. Because if you think about it, the very first girl was Mimi, who was training with me at the time at Bubba and Devon's. And then I was the second girl. So I think I was the second or third. But yeah, we were the you know, plants in the audience. I guess I can say that now, right? You know, many years later. But yeah, I was one of those, your trainer says you do it, you do it. And it was a big opportunity because, you know, it's TNA, you know, televised wrestling. And I'm getting a chance to be on TV, which is actually a goal of my life, you know, was one of my goals to be on TV. So that was, you know, as an actor, that's kind of what you strive to do. You're like, okay, why not? So I didn't know how severe it was going to be.
Yes. And by the way, you're right. Statute of limitations is over.
Yeah, I can say that now.
Oh my gosh. All right. So we'll go over this quickly, and then we'll be ready to go. But I want to this Blue Pants, because you mentioned Blue Pants. I happened to be at Full Sail University that night when Blue Pants came out, and Enzo Amore decides to call you Blue Pants, and then it just went crazy from there. You never know in wrestling what's going to be that something to just get the crowd into it. What were your initial reaction to that buzz after that whole thing went down? You're going to face Carmella. They need an opponent. You come out. He sees you in that outfit, and then he's like, "Oh, we got Blue Pants, yeah." Whatever he does it, and then it goes there. But what were your thoughts just after that let happen and the reaction that came from it?
It was wild. Like, again, it was supposed to be a one-time appearance. You know what I mean? Literally, it was a one-time. I got called, and it was at that point I was doing rosebudding, especially like a lot of house shows and like, you know, local TV tapings and even NXT stuff. They were just needing people to come out with Adam Rose. So when they called me like, hey, we actually want you to have a match, I'm like, cool, as a rosebud. Like, no, as you. And I'm like, wait, what? So it was, that was already kind of nerve wracking because I not that I was comfortable, because I wasn't comfortable at all, but like I knew, okay, so I know what this is. I know this character as rosebuds, you know, I know what the rosebuds are, but then like me as me, and I'm like, all right, well, it's a one-time appearance, you know, and it just kind of was a weird lightning in a bottle moment, like, and it was all because I accidentally forgot to bring workout pants, because they were like, hey, come around, Triple H wants to get in the ring with Carmella. He wants your opinion on something. I'm like, he wants my opinion? Oh my god! Oh, so I threw on a tank top, which was MC Chris tank top, but I realized I forgot to pack workout pants. So I threw the blue pants on because I brought several outfits because I didn't know what to wear, and those were the most like solid, general, nothing too crazy pants. So I'm like, I'll just go in there and get in the ring. And that's when they saw the pants, and they were kind of coming up with the idea of like, well, how are we going to call her out? Because they're already going to be out there. So they had to call me out, which is very rare for, you know, when you're an extra or, you know, that type of, you know, enhancement talent. You never get an entrance. So I was like, oh, all right. But it just worked for what they were doing. Hey, we won our match, Carmella. You haven't wrestled yet. Now you are. She's supposed to be like, oh, what? You know? So it's supposed to be a shock to her. So they saw me in the blue pants, and they're like, hey, girl in the blue pants. And then Sarah Mato was sitting next to me. She goes, I guess you're wearing the blue pants. I'm like, good thing I brought the whole outfit. And then, yeah. And then, you know, I think it was just a weird lightning in a bottle moment. I think if I would have been mad about them calling me blue pants, the crowd would have been like, oh, she's mad, and wouldn't have had fun with it. But instead, I danced. I'm like, yeah, my pants are blue. You're just stating the obvious. Because I feel like Blue Pants was just happy to be there. Because maybe I was happy to be there. I don't know. And then I think the audience recognized me, but then they were singing The Price is Right, Call Me Blue Pants. It was just all of this good juju all at the exact same time. And then that just spun into Blue Pants, which also then went viral on the internet. And so they wanted to test it out. So they took me on house shows, which still was super popular. Blue Pants was still getting chants. And then, you know, which led to eventually you know, takeover and many more Blue Pants appearances. So the one-time appearance lasted over a year and a half.
It is such a tough company because the best of the best, I mean, everyone wants to be there. A lot want to be there. Maybe not everyone, but a lot want to be there. I'm curious from that standpoint, did you ever try to work behind the scenes for them then too? Or no, it was too early, or just even to try that route?
I wasn't even thinking about anything like that because it was one of those, I just did what they told me. Because, you know, like, especially at the time, you're very much told, just go in. If they're telling you to do this is it, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't want to, like, again, you don't know. Because at this time, it wasn't like they were bringing a lot of indie wrestlers in to do anything. You know what I mean? It was a very new thing. They just brought in Rhino, and then myself, Samoa Joe, and then a few weeks later, Johnny Gargano and Tomasi. So that was it. There was not like they were bringing in a ton of indie workers like you see nowadays. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, we're going to have a Ring of Honor match where Athena versus, you know, this up-and-coming indie talent, blah, blah, blah. That wasn't a thing that happened at the time. People got to remember that wasn't happening. So that was very new. So it was uncharted ground. So I did not know how to navigate it. So I was just like, yes, sir. Whatever you need me to do. Okay, cool. I got it. Or you need me to come back again. Literally, they didn't even know if I was going to come back. So after the first Blue Pants appearance, we came in the back and Triple H was there laughing. He's like, you guys, he looked at all of us, got a Blue Pants chant, and just started laughing and walks off just cackling. And then, like, the next week, I literally get a call going, hey, we think we want to bring Blue Pants back. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's cool. I'll be there tomorrow, you know? And literally that's how they booked me for a year and a half. Hey, we know it's last minute, but what are you doing tomorrow? Hey, what are you doing today? Hey, what are you doing next week? What are you doing Saturday? So it was one of those, you just kind of have to be flexible and go with the flow. And I wasn't going to overstep my bounds, especially at the time. And maybe I should have, and maybe like my path would have been different, but I didn't. I'm one of those, especially maybe just because I'm always used to taking direction as an actor, because I do come from an actor's side, that I'm not going to be like, hey, I need this. I'm not going to like diva it up. I'm just going to be like, what do you need from me? And then I do it, you know, because again, this was uncharted territory, you know.
It's like you said, it was just something captured in a bottle. It's just that one of those moments that's like, it's amazing. And I'm curious, Leva, a couple more things. I want to get to the AEW, and then we'll get to something else, and then we'll get you out of here. But I'm curious, did Blue Pants, did that help you as far as even getting to AEW? Because there you became the Librarian.
Yes, absolutely. I don't think I would have went to AEW if Blue Pants didn't exist, because I wouldn't have met Cody Rhodes, and then we wouldn't have known each other, and when we would have met each other at the indie scene, there wouldn't already been a rapport. You know what I mean? Like, everything leads to something. So wherever you are, I feel like you need to put your best face forward. So, because you don't know who you're going to see in 6 months, or where you're going to be in a year, where you're going to be in 3 years, where you're going to be in 5 years. So you're going to meet up with these same people, and if you're a jerk to them, they're, you know, this person now may have a lot of power to say, I think we should bring this person in. Oh, we should look at this person. Oh, what about this? You know, so I didn't know. Cody Rhodes, you know, was just doing his thing. He just got, you know, left WWE and was trying to conquer the indies, doing his own thing. And I was doing my own thing, just trying to make rent and be silly and have fun and do my, you know, do my thing. And yeah, no, I 100%. If there's no Blue Pants, there would be no Librarian. But I feel like, you know, honestly, I don't know if there'd be Blue Pants if there wasn't a Rosebud. And if there were, you know, before that, I don't know if, you know, it all spirals, you know, like, yeah, they're all connected. Because
so cool.
This business is all about.
Cool? But isn't that so cool to think about it when you're thinking about it like that, and you have time to reminisce about it and all, how just one thing leads to another. And if there's some glitch, if there's some turn the other way, it may not have got you to where that got.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at Jordynne Grace right now. I mean, if she wasn't doing a phenomenal job at TNA for all these years, if she would have came in and just kind of like whatever the first year of TNA, she wouldn't have been, you know, put a rocket on her back and been the face of TNA's women division. And then she wouldn't have done the one-time appearance at NXT when they decided to do the thing. And then now they have this partnership, and then now they've seen her a lot, and now she got signed. You know what I mean? Like, it all connects. It's all about, again, putting your best face forward, doing the best you can, doing a good job, and not being a jerk. You know what I mean? It's it's a lot to juggle, but it's manageable.
And then was the Librarian your idea?
No, absolutely not. It was apparently Tony wanted a Librarian character, kind of in the vein of the Genius, and then Cody hit me up when they were doing the auditions for the Librarian. He's like, I want a few celebrities or well-known people to audition for it. I would love for you to do it. He even paid me for it, just to kind of garner interest in the whole thing. And so I did it. There was no talk about me getting signed or even getting looked at, because several months prior, I reached out to Brandi. I was like, hey, I see you guys are now forming AEW. If you need women, just let me know. And at the time, she's like, thank you so much. Right now, we have all we need, because, you know, they had Allie, they had Kylie Ray, and someone else. So it was like, Britt, yes. And so she's like, right now, you know, we're not really looking to bring anyone else in at the moment, But, thank you. I appreciate it. And then, so I was like, all right, so they're not looking for girls. So I didn't even think about it. But Cody asked me, and honestly, it was a win-win situation for everyone. Because, like, I helped him out by having, oh, crap, Blue Pants wants to be the librarian. And that was even what my audition was. If I can put a pair of pants over, I can be your librarian, and then, I got paid for it. And it's also, BTE was huge at the time. So it was great publicity for me. So it was like, this is a way to get my name a little bit more out there. Maybe someone who doesn't watch Shimmer, who doesn't watch Shine, who doesn't watch WSU, who doesn't watch the indie shows I'm working at, who maybe forgot about Blue Pants, or maybe even didn't like, oh, Blue Pants is cool, but oh yeah, there she is, just kind of remind people, hey, I'm still here. So I was like, it's a win-win situation. Again, no idea that was going to lead to him going, our plan worked. What do you mean our plan worked? Literally a month later, what plan? And then literally, talent relations text me, is this still Leva Bates' phone? Yeah. But at the same time, what plan are you talking about? You're the librarian. Because when I filmed, I had already heard in the rumor mill that was Peter. So I was like, well, they already got their librarian. They're just doing this as a story. And apparently they changed their mind. So I gotta give big props to Cody and then also Kenny, because I worked with Kenny at a couple cons. It's called CEO Gaming. It's a big gaming expo where they do a lot of like fighting game battle tournaments. And then I had been there a few times because I met Alex Shubela, who runs it, and he invited me to come out because he knew I was into gaming, and I was good friends with Austin, and that was a whole feud between Austin and Kenny. And I ended up meeting Kenny, and he was like, hey, do you mind doing a skit with me for BT? And I'm like, of course. I was there to anytime they needed something, I would help out. And that was actually kind of what he told me, why he was like, when Cody brought me up, he's like, yeah, she's great. I worked with her CEO. She jumps in anytime you need help. So like those two are the guys that kind of really put my name out there. And then it was like, all right, let's sign her.
And you also mentioned Peter Avalon. That's just amazing. I hope you have good stories about him, just in the sense of he looks like he's having so much fun out there being the bad guy and just doing all this stuff and like being larger than life than even what he is.
Oh man, I love Peter. Peter's one of my absolute favorite people. That's why even after we weren't really like booked together when you started doing a Pretty Peter, our saga got even more intense and deeper in BTE. Like it was a soap opera. We were like a 4-year-long soap opera. And even after, like, yeah, it was amazing. Like God. Our breakup, our reunion, when we got reunited, will they, won't they? Is there another guy, chicken and rooster in the hen, whatever that's, I don't know the phrase, but another guy in the thing. So yeah, it's a lot of will they, won't they. It was a lot of fun. We had so much fun working with each other. We do. I miss him so much. I love it when we get to get to do signings together, or get booked together, or even just happen to be on the show together in the same area together. It's like, I don't know, he's one of my best friends there at AEW, and we just so much fun. Like, I don't know.
Well, then how does it become Leva Bates, the librarian, then also Leva Bates working backstage? Because I'm at a show and getting ready. Tony Khan's going to do a press conference or something, and then there you are getting things ready and organized. I'm like, wait a minute, that's Leva. What's going on? I didn't even know. I didn't know.
I mean, when I got signed, almost everyone that got signed at the time, because I was signed way before the first Double or Nothing. Well, way before, but a month before the first Double or Nothing. Almost everyone that got signed there had some sort of double contract. So when I got signed, Cody goes, hold on, don't sign anything yet. And then they're like, here's this offer, and I became Brandi's right hand. Literally, I was her number 2. So she was a chief brand officer, and I was her assistant. So I was the assistant to the chief brand officer. And I don't know if you know what that means. Brandi literally did everything in AEW. Everything. So guess what? That means I did everything as well. So It was a wild, again, it's a startup company. You got to remember that we started from not even having a TV deal, just doing it. You know, these EVPs and Tony Khan doing it themselves. You know what I mean? And then building the team off of that. So that's why, like, QT Marshall had, you know, his job. You had Christopher Daniels, who's a wrestler, but also talent relations. You have, you know, all the refs are like talent travel coordinators. You know what I mean? Everyone, especially in the very first year to 2 years, were some sort of double contract for the most part. Almost. It's yeah, we ran. It was like we were running the show ourselves.
For you, Leva, in that situation, because you always seem like somebody that, like you said, whatever you need me to do, I'll do that and all. How much fun did you have during that time with AEW? Because it was just like you're starting this whole growth process.
I mean, it was wild because it was like this stuff I was doing, I'm like, I never actually learned how to do this. So you just learn on the fly. But it was also, I mean, I feel like also that's when I excel a little bit too, is when I'm challenged, you know. So I just kind of, let's go. And I mean, I would ask a lot of questions, and I had a really good support team, and you know, good mentors, and it was just one of those, like, we were, especially the first year, you had to be. We were all just like holding hands, holding our breath, and jumping into the deep end and hoping we can swim. You know what I mean? And you can't do that alone. You know, and we all had each other's backs for that. So it was definitely a wild time, but it was also probably the first year was just like you know, because it was just like you're watching it literally just kind of do this grow. You know, I was there when it was just a t-shirt company, and then the first pay-per-view and seeing that and then the second, and then being at Daly's place, like our home base, and then oh my god, we have, you know, a TV deal, and then trying to get ready for the TV, and then doing that and it's literally just growing and growing right in front of your eyes, you know, and it's fascinating almost, you know. So yeah, I mean, it was stressful, very stressful, but a lot of fun.
That is so cool. And I'll say this too, this is something a little different. So were you thinking, if I could have just somehow parlayed this character? Because do you remember a few years later, all of a sudden, like TBS, TNT, they had their own series called The Librarian?
Actually, they just canceled Librarians right when we took off on TNT and TBS, because I wanted to do a crossover. That was the big thing I pitched, and they just canceled them. And I was like, no. But they brought him back just this last year, I think. I'm already gone, so man. But yeah, that was my big thing. I was like, oh my god, let's work together. And it was like, oh, well, never mind. That shit doesn't exist now. Shit. Shoot.
Okay, we'll wrap it up. I think we're gonna wrap it up with this. Well, actually, I'm gonna ask this. So who's the cameo cat?
His name is yeah, he has this thing when I stream or I'm on the computer for too long. He likes to make himself known and get my attention. So his name is Stray OC, which stands for Orange Cassidy. He's named after the game Stray, because I beat the game. You play a little orange cat, and I set him free, and you found, you know, the outside world, and was very happy. And then 3 days later, I had this orange cat show up on my patio. So he found me.
Is this cat like Natty's cat? Natty and TJ's cat? Does this cat have like social media and TikTok and Facebook and all those other things?
No, I should. I feel like he's probably more popular than I am on my Twitch stream. He's very well known in my Twitch community and on my Discord. They love him. And then I'll post pictures on him on mine. But yeah, no, I'll be honest, I don't have time. So I did tell him he's going to have to do an only pause because he has to pay his part of rent. He's a freeloader. So we might have to sell some toe beans.
I don't know why when people are doing things with their cat, it's just when you have to pause. That to me is like, okay, now we have pause time. And instead of actually pausing what you're doing, it's the cat because it's pause. Not P-A-U-S-E, but P-A-W-S. Anyway, I want to wrap this up. I'm going to wrap this up with this. This is what the thing that I find, one of the many things that I find so fascinating with Leva Bates is this. So hopefully I got it right, and you'll explain why. How does a girl from Madisonville, Kentucky, pull off and become a Lucha Sister?
Well, to be fair, I was dating, the Lucha Bros. I did the Lucha Bros, but I was dating John Cruz at the time, and he was a Lucha guy. So at the time, honestly, we were like, oh well, if they're because she was dating his tag partner, and at the time, and we're like, well, they're tagging, we should totally tag, because her and I immediately hit it off. Like, that's that kind of, we became friends. She just moved to Florida, and because we met through the boyfriends, and we hit it off immediately. Like, we got along really, really well, and we kind of pitched that let's do a thing, and we jokingly said we could be the Lucha Sisters, the whole Lucha family. Because I think at one point we came out as the Lucha family, so it was like we just wanted to do the Lucha Sisters, and we ended up getting tag belts and kind of going a lot of places together. So we're like, oh, this is taking off for us. This is cool. So yeah. So weirdly enough, yes, this girl from Madisonville, Kentucky, just because of being accepted by all families, you know what I mean, by Mia Yim family, and John Cruz, and
I never knew, and I never knew. See, I never knew that. And when I was asking, and I have to say that you never know, right place, right time, and
it really is. It's just being loving and accepting to everyone.
Hey, and John, you mentioned John Cruz, and I know he's personal friends with Serpentico, which is a nice thing. So that's cool too. And
him and I are still very, very close. So I adore him. So yeah, I'm very, very happy with his career too. He's doing fantastic, and I'm so proud of him. So proud of him. Maybe not the Serpentico guy, but
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah. What are you gonna do?
Just a nice guy.
All right, Leva, you know what? You're fantastic too. And thank you so much for the time. We got the big Anime Miami, February 14th to the 16th at the MACC, Miami Airport Convention Center. You'll see FSCW, cosplay, and pro wrestling. It's such a fun show. You could be a cosplayer, you could be a pro wrestling fan, or both. And it's going to be such an entertaining time. And Leva, keep doing what you're doing. I know you mentioned Twitch. I'll let you leave. I'll let you end this. Is there anything else for fans to check you out here, there, wherever?
Oh man, I'm signing at a few conventions. I got MegaCon, but then Animate Miami right after. I'm doing a lot of the GalaxyCon conventions, whether it's GalaxyCon, Animate, or Nightmare Weekend. So FSCW, if it's there, I'll probably be there signing, doing panels, wrestling, all of the above, having a great time. I stream on Twitch multiple times a week. It's Wrestling Leva on Twitch. I do have a big link tree, so if you go to my Instagram or my website, you'll be able to find everything you need there. It's Leva Bates, easy, levabates.com. There you go. If you know my name, you can find me.